Hong Kong's pro-democracy camp had hoped to use the momentum of public unhappiness over the proposed extradition law to carry them to victory in the upcoming September LegCo elections. But it was not meant to be. On July 30th, just one day before the end of the political nomination period, the Electoral Affairs Commission disqualified 12 opposition candidates. And then, on July 31st, hot on the heels of the disqualification, Mrs. Carrie Lam announced that LegCo elections will be postponed for 1 year due to the re-emergence of COVID-19 cases.
Of course it's not fair, but according to them it's all legitimate. Somehow some returning officer, some mere middle-ranking official inside the government could decide whether you could run. I mean, how more absurd can things be? Oh, you're not patriotic enough, so go away, you're not allowed to run. It's all political. It's political screening. It's very unacceptable.
With the cloud of uncertainty and fear hanging over the city, how will the democracy movement in Hong Kong survive? The government maintains that Hong Kong still places a lot of emphasis on the rule of law and due process. The disqualified candidates can appeal against the decision through the courts and get themselves reinstated.
The good thing about Hong Kong is that we always have a due process. In fact, over the last couple of years, we have candidates who actually won the appeal. There are those who lost too, but there are those who won the appeal.
But some observers believe that the situation in Hong Kong is changing rapidly. The recent developments are a clear testimony to Beijing's changed attitude towards Hong Kong.
It shows that Beijing leaders have running short of political patience. They can no longer tolerate the public political dissent in Hong Kong, nor the protests, nor can they accept the fact that many Hong Kong people, they don't agree with the extradition law. They don't even agree with the so-called national anthem law. And then culturally speaking, they don't even identify themselves as Chinese.
The national security law has ushered in a new era of fear and uncertainty in Hong Kong. Views which are deemed critical of the central government will not be tolerated, and harsh punishment awaits those who break the law.
People will be more cautious about speaking up and speaking out. I took a taxi only a few days ago, and poor taxi driver said, "Hey, I used to talk freely about what I think about the government with my passengers, but now I better be careful because you see, I have my registration label here, complete with my name and my vehicle number, plate number, and I better be careful." Oh dear me.
You can see people now actually delete the social media account. That's a very clear sign that they try to protect themselves. They also try to censor all information flow in mainland China, particularly about Hong Kong. If you talk about something about Hong Kong, your WeChat account may be blocked. To some extent, they worry about Hong Kong's democracy will actually affect China's people's demand for democracy.
But there are still many Hong Kongers who are willing to stand up, speak their minds, and be counted.
Am I saying that that's the end, the death of Hong Kong's democracy fight? I doubt it, because our young have been fighting for their future. And indeed, it's their future they're fighting for, and time is on their side.
The government says nothing much has really changed in the city since the introduction of the new security law.
Back in '97, there's already talk of Hong Kong will doom after the communist China take over Hong Kong. Hong Kong continued to be as free as, in fact, probably freer than before '97. So we proved that wrong. So I think the current time, the current crisis, probably, again, it would take time. It would take time to prove again to our own people and as well to the outside world that business goes on and we continue to have that freedom that we continue to have. Now, of course, provided you don't cross that line.
Can the pro-democracy camp keep up its momentum until the next LegCo election and survive in a much tougher and less predictable political environment?
So I think the public expect them to keep on their fights for maintaining our civil liberties. The public also expect them to play smart, to fight in a smart way so that they can evade immediate arrest, so that they can still operate, they can still function.
Will the next 12 months give the pro-Beijing candidates more time to tip the election odds in their favor?
If they don't like the government now, they'll continue not like the government a year from now. So I think the whole suggestions of postponing it will help the government to gain back some vote. Totally not. I don't think so.